Oh,
Hey, we're on there.
recording.
Hey, everybody. Smurf here, and you are watching. Sorry, we haven't done this in a while. I forgot what I'm supposed to do. Uh, um, you're
Whoa.
watching Set Phasers to Read, and that's our online sci-fi book club. And today we're going to be talking about The Martian by Andy Weir or Weir.
It's Weir.
Weir?
Yep.
So, The Martian by Andy Weir, which I'll already say is probably my favorite book that we've done, even though I really loved Ringworld.
Yeah, this is my favorite book so far that we that I've done with you guys. So.
Yeah, it was a pretty good book overall, and I think probably everyone's gonna agree with that. So I guess to get started, what was everyone's opinion of the book in general, other than it was good?
Well, I think for a book that's written mostly in the first-person point of view, like he's cataloging everything that's happening, his inner thoughts, his, whatnot. I think it kept my attention going fairly well. It didn't really drag, if any. And I think it just had like a nice flow overall, so it was a very pleasant read. I think also the other thing that gives me a much higher opinion was the crap, I can't think of the book, like How to Live Safely in a Science Fictional Universe or something.
Yeah.
That, like his inner thoughts were like in his mind and they weren't very well composed and they just tended to drag on for a while. And just the difference between the two, like this was, like I said, much more pleasant for me to read.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely more pleasant. As the slowest reader in our group, I read this in 2 days. So
Nice.
I think I found my genre. I need to read things that are in diary format or log format. Yeah. So it was just overall like 10 out of 10. Would read again. Would watch on TV. Would love to see more of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I loved the sarcasm, but also at the same time, like I could really feel what he was feeling, and so just
Yeah.
imagining like you're totally cut off from the whole human race at times, and just how heavy that must be, and I don't know, I could really feel what the guy was feeling, and that was, I don't know, it was cool.
Yeah.
I
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Brad, I forgot your hair. Go for it.
Hey, bet.
For a book that does a lot of science and really makes you think about things, I mean, you and I don't have the opportunity to have that level of understanding of chemistry or the things it would take to live in that environment, and the fact that it's done so well, and even as a layperson, I mean, you or I don't have a degree in chemistry, or well, some of us do have degrees in physics, but what or engineering for that matter.
Yeah.
The fact that the way he wrote it was so down to earth and so easy to understand. I mean, the fact that the character decides to come up with a unit of measurement called the Pirate Ninja because it was indicative to the little touches that really helped ground the book and make it accessible to the layperson. So that was really, really commendable.
Yeah.
I would definitely agree with all y'all. And the science part is definitely what hooked me on it. At first, I was iffy because besides Ringworld, the last couple of hard sci-fi novels I've read really didn't hold up through the ages, I guess. A lot of the stuff just didn't make any sense. And this one did a great job. The little bits of science that I did know for sure, like I knew a little bit of the physics, knew a little bit of the chemistry and everything, and it all was perfect as far as I could tell, and I didn't go looking, but from what I've read from critics and stuff, it's pretty accurate just in general.
Yeah, and the initial process of writing it, I think I mentioned it before, he had posted chapters online chunks at a time, and he would have readers read and give feedback, and he would consult with physicists and chemists, well, and whatnot, and like if anyone noticed a mistake in his math, it'd be like, hey, that's not how this works, you need to do it like this. This is how it would actually work properly. And so he went back and fixed everything, and once it was completed, he put them in files on his website where people can download them and put them on their devices. But he got such a high demand from people to put it on Amazon because they didn't know how, or didn't want to go through the trouble of drag and drop onto their Kindle or whatever. And so he put it on Amazon for like $1 because Amazon makes you charge people for stuff. And so he went ahead and did that, and eventually got picked up by the publishers and made into a book, and now it's been optioned into a movie. And yeah, like the author himself is actually a really nice, down to earth guy. We got to talk to him for a bit and hang out.
Oh, cool.
It seemed that way. I was just reading about him before we started. So.
Yeah, and I had listened to him on a podcast previously. It was like Science Friday back in February or March or something. And yeah, he was just very down to earth and was talking about the background and how this came to be. So yeah, it's crazy. But,
yeah, like you mentioned, it was optioned for a movie, and I'm really hopeful that they retain the scientific accuracy and kind of make it sort of a modern day Apollo 13 or something.
Yeah, and he wanted it in the not so distant future, so it could be definitely plausible. And everything's possible with what he's come up with our current technology and stuff, where it's not that far off. So.
Yeah, it was. It's really awesome story just in general. The writing's all good. The accuracy is awesome. I just looked to see if he had anything else out or if he was working on anything that he'd announced publicly, but it doesn't look like it.
He is working on a book.
It's softer science.
So there's not going to be as much scientific stuff. Maybe a little more on the fantasy side of science fiction.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I will definitely check that out.
So that was the last thing that we had heard. So I don't recall when he was planning on putting that out, like next year or the year after.
Yeah, I think he said it was 2015 at some point.
Yeah.
Makes
So
sense.
maybe sometime next year.
Cool.
If we're lucky.
Yeah.
So in the book, Watney is the main character, and just a quick synopsis is that he's gone on a Mars mission with a group of people. He is stranded there, and he's trying to get home, or he's basically trying not to die, is what he's trying to do. And because of the way the book is written, he's the main character, and he's really all you see for quite some time, and then it's still mostly him even throughout. Everything else is just little blurbs and mentions of his crew and people back at NASA and things like that. Who was y'all's favorite character besides Watney?
I would say
Annie.
Annie?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's been a while. Which one's Annie?
She's the one that said fuck a lot.
The PR person, right?
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I was
like-
gonna say the awkward
Like
guy.
every other word.
I can't think of his name, but I was gonna say it's like the really awkward guy that was like, "Hey, I think I know how to get him home."
Oh, the whatchamadingle maneuver.
Yeah.
That guy.
Oh, I can't.
What was his name? Oh shoot!
Someone
That's how I
like-
have it.
Time off?
Yeah.
No. Okay, well I'm taking
No.
time off anyway.
I don't have the text up. Yeah, definitely. Those were both really good characters.
I really like the guy that ended up just giving up the maneuver to the crew. Sorry, it's been a while since I've actually looked at the book.
Rich
I don't remember his
Purnell.
name.
Yeah, the Parnell maneuver,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Rich
Yeah, that's
Purnell.
the guy that I'm talking
Oh,
about.
no, so the guy that I was talking about, like the guy who sent it in the picture file, like secretly, like
Oh,
there
yeah.
was-
wasn't supposed to
Vinkins.
inform the Mars crew.
Vinkins, like contemporary, right?
Sorry?
It was one of the Ares like team leads.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know his name either, but he was pretty good. And I liked the scene where he was first like accused of being the person that's
Yeah, exactly.
You gonna prove it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Did you guys did y'all have a favorite section of the book or favorite line?
I had a few like quotes throughout the book that I had highlighted. One of them was, "I wonder what worshippers of duct tape would call themselves."
Yeah.
Actually, remember that one.
Yeah, because it was like, yes, of course, duct tape works in a near vacuum. Duct tape works anywhere. Duct tape is magic and should be worshipped. And,
I highlighted that too. That's funny.
yeah. Yeah, and then there was, I mean, it's just like goofy little quotes.
Yeah,
like,
it's
Mars.
full of great lines.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's right, Mars. I'm gonna piss and shit on you. That's what you get for trying to kill me all the time. Like, take that, Mars. I will use you as a toilet.
the scene where he first gets off of the planet and he like looks out to Terry like "Fuck you."
Yeah, and
That
then
was pretty good.
I'm trying to see. It's like, once the sun isn't visible, I'm in the dark. Phobos gives me some moonlight, but not enough to work with. Deimos is a little piece of crap that's no good to anyone. Deimos has it up. So, yeah, it's just little quotes like that, observations and his inner thoughts that just amused me and made me laugh.
I got a really big kick out of the when he first started communicating with NASA. Like the banter back and forth was so great.
That's what I was gonna say, because like NASA has to be all proper and they're trying to do everything exactly, and he's just like, psh. Like I've got this page open where like Venkat Kapoor is like, oh yeah, so in answer to some of your earlier questions, no, we cannot tell the botany team to go fuck themselves. I understand you've been on a.
Oh yeah, which was not long after he called himself the greatest botanist on this planet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
There really are, like, pretty much every couple pages there's something that I underline on mine. So.
Yeah, because I think when you were reading it, I was driving back from Grand Rapids, and periodically in the car ride, I would just hear him start laughing.
Yeah. It just,
literally lolling.
That's exactly what happened with us. Like I would just be giggling, and Jason's like, "What? What?" And I'm like, "You just have to read it. Like you won't get it." That reminds me though of the question that we were talking about earlier about who we would cast in a movie, because we didn't know that what's his name? Matt Damon had already been in talks.
Matt Damon.
I don't know. The character's personality to me just doesn't fit Matt Damon. Maybe he could do it, but
I think he could do it.
Yeah, I can see it.
I say like I think he could do it just because of like having seen him on other TV shows like 30 Rock and stuff where he's being
that's true.
A little more lighthearted.
Well,
I always think like Born Identity Matt Damon.
Yeah.
I think I would also watch that though.
But the scene where he and Ben Affleck show up in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, where they're basically redoing their bit from Good Will Hunting and doing the sequel. Just watching the two of them play and just kind of being, kind of accentuated versions of themselves. It really felt like I think that he could do it. I think he could be a smart aleck and pull it off. And
I think this would be hard to transfer to the screen because it's so one person. Like it's kind of like the new Mockingjay movie. Like so much of it is in the main character's head that it's going to be hard to portray.
I think they could do it if they shot him doing video logs instead of like typing.
Yeah, I think video logs got a lot better, and just him talking to himself.
Yeah,
out loud. Maybe not necessarily putting all of it in a log, just him talking to himself, doing stuff, and then something going horribly wrong with the HVAC or whatever.
Yeah.
Or the-
But some of the things that really struck me was whenever, he was feeling like these heavy emotions, like I said, being all alone or suffering from these accidents that are going to kill him, or like whenever he had finally got contact with Earth and he was enjoying contact, and then one tiny mistake and silence.
Yeah.
I don't know. That could be hard to portray. It'll be interesting to. I'll certainly watch the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of along those lines, Lena mentioned that she thought the book was really, really good at portraying people's emotions other than Watney about what they had given up to save him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, we got so few so brief of a glimpse in each of those other characters, like his crew and the people back on Earth, but he really like used those glimpses to harness that. And I was telling Jason, the only people that I wish that they had kind of given us more about is Watney's family.
Yeah.
But I think maybe it would have been too heavy. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see it maybe like bringing things down a bit because there's
Yeah.
emotion.
Yeah.
You have the anger and the remorse and whatnot for decisions made by the crewmates on what they did and why they did it. And having his family like there kind of just, it would definitely bring the mood down more.
It would add a sense of drama that really didn't need to be there. The type of drama that seemed like Andy was going for was, survival. Is he going to make, what is a person that, granted, has, multiple skills that can probably pull this off? How is he going to make this happen? And to bring in, a sad mother or, a sad family member or that other drama would really kind of pull you out of that kind of focused narrative that he seemed to be pulling together.
Yeah.
I was gonna be so mad if he didn't end up making it after all.
I know. I got fucking live. That's all I can say.
I'd be so unhappy if he dies at the end.
You know what's funny though? Like even to the end, I was like, "Oh man, something's gonna happen and he's gonna die."
I know.
Like he kept me hanging on so hard.
Yes.
It was. I mean, I love that about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to the last part on audiobook, and I kept listening like all the way through the credits just to make sure he was actually really alive. They didn't like slip in like, Watney tripped and broke his neck. Oh, my bad.
I guess one thing that it brought up is like how much effort do you put in to save one man? Like they spent billions of dollars and so many man hours, and like it was never really a question though. Like if we're gonna save him, like if there's gonna be any possible chance, then they tried.
And it just
at some point I'm like, how much money are you gonna spend?
Yeah.
It really felt though that the way he had pulled it together was, and the way it was kind of sold and seemed believable, is he survived on Mars for over a year. And to have that kind of information about the weather and firsthand, did the hab work well?
Right.
What are things we can change about the hab? Pros and cons of how we've structured missions and how we can do more prolonged things. That's information that's kind of priceless. So I think the sell that Andy Weir gave us kind of made it believable that while it was on the cusp and there were some people saying, write him off, the fact that they actually did save his life actually kind of made sense.
Yeah.
And they had, people from other countries helping out as well.
Yeah.
It wasn't just on the United States. It was a global effort to save this one person. So
Yeah, I felt bad for the Chinese.
That's exactly what I was about to say. The guy that was like, I've got my legacy planned out. Oh.
Yeah, this is never gonna happen again. This opportunity is never gonna.
Oh man. What was the one kind of like scene or part that everybody felt like the most frustrated by? Like, I have one specifically.
The most heartbreaking was whenever he lost communication with Earth after. I guess because that just really got to me. Is just you're so alone.
Yeah.
The
The
rover crashing off that ledge was the one that got
Oh,
me.
that's right. Oh God.
At that point, I was just like almost in tears. I was just like, oh my God.
I thought for sure he was dead there.
Yeah.
And then the rest is just about people flying to Mars 4 years later and collecting his body.
Yeah.
Yeah, the crew story was interesting. I would, I think I'd be into reading a little bit more about them if there was some there, but it was a good amount. Didn't lose interest or anything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would be interesting if there was another book that was kind of done on the perspective of the crew and everything that happened with them.
Yeah, I would probably be interested in
It's
reading
like
that.
a short story.
You know, I kind of think that it's kind of perfect the way it is. If you were
Yeah,
to,
there's not really much you could do to make the novel better.
it's kind of like lightning in a bottle. You know what I'm saying? He captured it. He made a good story. He told it from the perspective of the person that it had to be told by. There was tension. There was, scientific knowledge. I mean, there were things in there that were very interesting. And for you to, I keep thinking about, what is it? Speaker of the Dead, the follow-up to Ender's Game.
Mhm.
Ender's Game was a perfect book, and I read the first 10 pages of Speaker of the Dead, and I felt like Orson Scott Card pooped in my mouth.
Yeah. It's about how far I made it into that one, too. It was 10 or 20 pages, and I was like, I'll read something else.
Because what you expected from the world building that he did, he totally took that and went, well, I kind of, and went on. And it kind of makes sense, the place where they ended the first book, that, they're out in space, they're doing something different, but when you go back to the well, it doesn't always work,
I also think the crew stories, kind of like his family, would also be too heavy. Because, like, what they were experiencing while they didn't know that he was alive, like, can you imagine being trapped on a spaceship and, like, your buddy just died basically in front of you?
Here, I couldn't, having a son, I couldn't deal,
Yeah.
I know that I couldn't handle that. It would be too heavy. There would be too much crying and all that stuff. It would hurt.
Yeah, so I don't know. I agree. I like the book the way it is. I don't want anything about it to change.
Yeah. So, I guess, what would you guys rate the book 1 out of 10?
Yeah, 10.
Like 10.
Like,
I say 9.5 because I don't rate anything 10 usually, but
Whatever. That's smart. That is a 10.
it was a really good book. I don't have hardly anything on my Goodreads or whatever rated all the way. So
Oh, I do.
yeah, the science was there, the feels was there. It was definitely a page turner. Couldn't stop reading. It was awesome.
yeah, if it holds my interest for another read through in a few months, it'll probably move up to a 10 on my list. That's really the only thing that's not tested.
You're a hard sell, Jason.
You gotta leave room to move up. There's gotta be something better. Be a goal.
I'm really picky about what I'm willing to read. Because you're spending the time. It better be a damn good book, and if you're willing to, and much like Smurf, I'm willing to read it again, and that I think says a lot about the book and how good it is. So
Yeah, I felt like there's probably some stuff that I missed on the first read through because I was going so fast. So
Yeah, me too.
I almost started again last night actually, but I decided I'd give it some time.
no, I'd give it a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What averages to a 10, so
It's like 9.875.
Yeah.
We don't do anything except for 9, 5, and 10, so it's close enough.
By far and away the best book we read in our little book club, and it was great to end on that book. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it was a really good choice.
Yeah.
I think
Not
that
if it's your pet.
and Ringworld were probably my two favorites.
Ringworld is awesome too, in its own right.
Yeah, it was a little more frustrating than
Yeah, it definitely wasn't as good as The Martian. The Martian was better, but
Yeah. The Martian was a lot better. Ringworld was still a good book, but The Martian was a lot better.
does anyone have any loose threads or complaints about the book that you need to talk about?
No.
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 Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, in that case, I guess we are done. So, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see y'all later.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.